My dad told me to pack my room for the baby, so I grabbed a bag and walked out fast. When I was 12, it was just me and my dad. My mom picked substances over us, and he got full custody. Back then, he felt like my whole world. Friday nights were our thing. One bowl of popcorn, one movie, and him letting me stay up late. For my 13th birthday, he took me to Disney, and I remember thinking I got lucky with this dad. Then Nina showed up when I was 14. They met at some work event. At first, she played nice. She asked about school, laughed at my dumb jokes, and told my dad how sweet I was. The second they got engaged, she flipped. Dad started having date nights all the time, and I'd come home to a babysitter even though I was old enough to be alone. During our movie nights, her phone would buzz, and Dad would pause the film to answer. Every time. I tried to fix it. I asked Nina if we could do something just us, like get ice cream. She didn't even look up. She said maybe next week. Next week never happened. After they got married, I stopped feeling like I lived there and started feeling like I was in the way. Dad would cook dinner and somehow it was always 2 plates, never 3. I'd come in starving after practice, and the pan would be empty. Nina would be at the table with a full plate, and I'd be microwaving frozen food again. When I told Dad it hurt, he didn't get mad at her. He told me Nina was still adjusting to having a teenager around, so I needed to be more understanding. I said it had been years. He shrugged like that solved it. My grandparents noticed too. When we lived close, I'd tell them everything. Nina rolling her eyes when I talked. Nina canceling plans last minute. Nina convincing Dad to skip my 16th birthday dinner because she had a headache. His family confronted him, and Nina cried and said everyone was attacking her. Instead of fixing anything, Dad moved us 6 hours away. I lost my friends, my school, and the only adults who cared if I ate. 2 years ago, they started trying for a baby and didn't even tell me. I only found out later that Dad couldn't have more kids, so they used a donor. Nina acted like this baby was the only thing that mattered. When Mark was born, the house changed overnight. Everything was about naps, bottles, and Nina's rules. Dad used to spend weekends with me. We'd hit this diner he loved or walk around Target just talking. A few weeks after the baby came home, Dad called me into the living room and said we couldn't do our weekend thing anymore. Nina needed him home. I asked if we could at least do Saturdays. He said Nina couldn't handle being alone with a newborn for a whole day. He said, I'm sure you understand. I didn't. I was 17, and it felt like the last piece of my dad got handed to her, so I stayed in my room. I stopped coming down for dinner. Sometimes I'd hear them eating without me. I'd hear the baby crying and Nina snapping at Dad. I went a full week without seeing either of them face to face. Dad didn't text me once. He didn't knock or call up the stairs. Nothing. On the 8th day, he came to my door. For a second, I thought he missed me. He stood there, awkward, and said we need to talk about your room. Our house has 2 big master bedrooms, mine and theirs, and 2 smaller rooms on the other side, by the laundry room. That would be perfect for a nursery. But Nina said those rooms were too far. She didn't want to walk across the house at night. Dad didn't ask me what I wanted. He told me to start packing this weekend because they were turning my room into Mark's nursery. I just stared at him. That room was the last thing that still felt like mine. The walls I painted when I was 13. The window seat where I'd read when I needed to get away. He was giving it to a baby who wouldn't remember any of it. I said okay because I didn't have any power left. Dad looked relieved and walked away. A minute later, I heard Nina through the wall, excited, saying thank God she agreed. She started talking about repainting and a cute theme. Like my room was just a project she finally got to erase. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely zip my bag. I called my uncle and asked if I could come over. He showed up about 40 minutes later. When he rang the bell, Dad met him at the door and tried to laugh it off, saying I was being dramatic and everyone just needed to adjust. My uncle looked past him and asked where I was. I walked out with a duffel bag and my backpack. I didn't yell. I just looked at my dad and said, you can give my room to your real kid now. Then I walked past them and out the door. Now my dad is acting like I'm selfish for walking out. Was I wrong?